But I said to myself, you know, go big or go home.
Hello, welcome to Swiss Watch King. Welcome to a new video where we'll discover a new brand straight from the USA, New York. What's up, Carlos?
What's up, man?
Here, guys. Nice to finally see you in our parts of the world.
Indeed. Thank you so much for the invitation. Very excited to talk more.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So as you know, guys, we love to discover new brands, and today is no different. We have MEC Watches here on the channel. Finally, I saw this on Instagram. I was like, how the hell did I not see this coming? So tell me, how did you start in the industry? What's your story? Because for me, you just came out of nothing with this cool watch.
Pretty much. That's the perception out of a lot of people. But it has been quite a journey. I started collecting, you know, since very early age. And I made my way up from traditional quartz watches to certain mechanical watches, all the way up to the independents. Yeah. And my love just grew, but I also wanted to do something about the industry that I love so much. And I started consulting watch brands until the very end that I was consulting one of my heroes. And I decided, you know what, the organic step from this, I need to do something about watches. Yeah. And someone also in the watch industry, very important, Monsieur Max Busser, inserted that idea.
If you know who that is.
Exactly. You know, if you know, you know. He pretty much, we were having a dinner in Miami and he pretty much inserted that idea in my head. Yeah. And that was like a splinter running in my head. And I said, you know what, why not? It is definitely insane to start a watch company. A lot of people don't understand everything that goes or that entails into creating a watch. But I said to myself, if I'm gonna do this, then I'm gonna do it, you know, go big or go home. Yeah. I decided to do it fully in-house, independently, without using anyone's caliber, without using anyone's kind of like design. Because, you know, it's fairly easier to start a watch brand when you have some cues from some other brands, right? But I decided, you know what, we're gonna do it completely different. We're gonna try our best to produce a product that we're extremely proud about. And the only way of doing it was going completely from scratch. And evidently, that took us significantly more time than for anyone that will just work, which is already a big task to design a watch. Yeah. To take a lot of, you know, design cues and whatnot and develop it to create a brand. Beyond that, then, you know, it's easier just on the mechanical side, you know, slap some ebauche from some other brand and move forward. It a bit. And even then, that is a difficult task. But now, starting from scratch, creating your own caliber, is a whole different story. So we have to go through R&D, and then trying to find the right people to work with you is another story. So even at the very beginning, convincing my other two partners, Eric and Judd, that wasn't that difficult, because what they said immediately was like, we know you, we trust your judgment, we like, you know, your style in watch collecting. So most likely the idea that you have, and then we started developing. Should be good, yeah. But I knew from day one, and this entire idea started February of 2020, just before pandemic, right? Yeah.
Which was great for sourcing stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah, fantastic. From that very same day, I said, I know what type of watch I want, which is the complication that we have today, which is a jump hour. From that very day. And the design, very similar to what we have today, it became a reality. So that's like the short version of the entire story that encompassed 3 years of development. And now we have the manual wind MEC 1, which is our first product. But that's on big terms what we did.
For sure. So tell us about the dial side of the watch.
Of course.
What are we seeing here?
So right now, what you guys are going to be able to see is a dial that is composed mostly out of sapphire. We have a sapphire dial, sapphire hour marks, or hour disc in this case, and sapphire minute hand. The minute hand is a whole different story. It has to be hand cut. It has a hollow part in the middle. And the main idea of that is, in order for you to see the instantaneous jump on the hour, never to be blocked by the hand.
To not cover it, huh? Yeah.
Correct.
Nice.
Right? Even to that detail. And it's very three-dimensional. It has a lot of facet on the sides. the Luminova on the top, you see it on the minute hand, and you see it on the disc. We created a puck and a reservoir for the Luminova behind the actual hour disc in order to, look more three-dimensional and whatnot. It was always the idea to be very artistic with it, because the main design cues of the brand in general, especially with the MEC one, which is our first watch, it's Art Deco. Because I'm originally from Venezuela, and when I moved from Venezuela to the States, I arrived to Miami and then New York. And those are the two capitals of the world in Art Deco architecture. And I wanted to do something that really called for our sensitivity, the things that we like, and that was the result. So in the face, on the dial side of the watch, you're gonna be able to see a lot of New York Art Deco design cues. Very angular, very imposing, very Art Deco from the 30s era, which, you can tell that the minute hand is a little bit like the Chrysler building.
Yeah.
And in the back, on the caliber side, you're gonna be able to see more representation of Miami. You're gonna be able to see that the mid-bridge is Cascade double gadron, very typical from buildings in South Beach, in Ocean Drive. And that's what I wanted to also imply there. The entire movement is made out of German silver. You can see a black coating on the top of the bridges, that's black PVD. And even to the decoration side of things, we decided to go very differently with bead blasting instead of highly polishing or doing any other type of decoration technique on the German silver, because even down to that level, we wanted to show something different. A lot of people don't even know what material it is, because sandblasting German silver, it creates that grayish type of opaque color that we really enjoy. But yeah, 48-hour power serve out of our first movement, obviously manual wind. And the interesting thing is, Jot Wood, which is one of my partners, he's our watchmaker, he was testing the chronometry aspect out of the watch, and the watch is accurate +2, -2 a day.
Wow.
So we're talking about -1 a day, -1 second a day in time deviation, which makes it, extremely reliable in chronometric purposes. We're very, very proud of that. And the entire complication on the dial side, even to the most minute details, was really cutting no corners. The hammer that actually makes the jump on the hour, it's fully skeletonized, and it reduces about close to 60% of the mass in order not to wobble. If you see the jump, it's instantaneous and it doesn't wobble, it doesn't go back and forth. We didn't allow for people to be able to go back in time, because jump hours are very well documented, and these are, unfortunately, that is one of the problems of this complication, that they're very well known for being very finicky and they break a lot. And we decided to go against that grain and say, you know what, we think that we can create a jump hour movement that is gonna be way more reliable, more robust, and it's gonna be dummy proof, taking it into consideration for the users. And we eliminated the opportunity for you to go back in time. That eliminates at least 70% of all the problems into this movement, into this complication. And again, we're very, very happy. This is our last iteration of the prototypes. This is the second iteration of the case, 30% slimmer and whatnot. But we have way more details that we can definitely discuss, but you guys get the gist of it.
For sure. Man, it's beautiful. And the sizing is also great on the case. What's the case size?
The case size is 39 millimeters. And as you said it's a little bit of a visual illusion, I like to tell people. Because in pictures, number one, pictures don't do this watch justice. It's a watch that you guys definitely need to see in person. And second of all, even if you have it in front of you, it doesn't represent what it really is until you put it on. Because ergonomically, it's very interesting. It's very thin. It's only 9.5 millimeters thick, the watch overall. But that 39 millimeters on the case, it represents way more than what it really is, because legibility in a jump hour is dramatic. It needs to be very legible. In this case, I think that we achieved that, even though that is an open work dial. But it works very well for bigger wrist size like ours, or very small wrist size, I will say down to 14 centimeters in circumference.
No, I agree. And it's also nice that you still left the seconds disc. You didn't hide it or take it away.
Correct.
So there's still some movement on the dial, right? Which you sometimes with jump powers you don't have.
Correct. That was the main intention, to always keep it very...
Yeah. So for people who are interested in this watch, let's say, what's the price point, the limitations? When is it coming out, the final pieces?
Very, very good question. So we decided to make only 50. This is our subscription style of watch, which it pretty much means that this is the watch that is helping us to be a company, you know, a full-blown watch company. So our collectors are helping us to become the people that we want to become, the brand that we want to become, and continue just growing. So we decided to only do 50, and there's another catch about that. Out of these 50, with this combination of metals, stainless steel case and German silver movement, that will be it. After this 50, we will never repeat MEC 1 with that combination of metals.
With the jump power as well, or are you going to continue the...
We're going to be continuing creating what we will call a regular production MEC 1, but that will be only in precious metals. And even the movement material, it will completely change. We're going to most likely revisit the caliber. So the idea, we're taking a little bit of inspiration on the biggest independents today, that they decide always to keep in mind their collectors and the potential value that their watches are going to have. So let's say not just out of a numerical, not just about cash, not just about money, but the appreciation that you have for the watch brand and the collectability. The only way that you can propose something different to people is to make new watches, not repeat the ones that you have already done. So that is something that I'm committed to. I already proposed that idea, and my partners were absolutely down for it. But the price for this one is 21,000 Swiss francs, which translates...
very fair.
Yeah, it's very fair for what it is. Fully independent, fully in-house. Took us about 3 years to develop this on R&D, design, back and forth. And obviously, this is not the very last thing that we're gonna do, because we're already working on MEC 2. We're working on other variations of the MEC 1, and I have already designed the next 8 watches. Nice. Wow. And every single one will be a different complication, because we don't want to do anything boring.
Yeah, that's the goal, huh? If you're inspired by Max, obviously that's his pathway as well.
Indeed, indeed.
The guy makes what, every year a new watch, new calibers.
Exactly, it will be the idea. I will leave Max to do those pieces of art that we call watches, because those are more than watches. For sure, but I think that what we wanted to do, and I can humbly say that we accomplished here, was to make something that doesn't look like anything else in the market. And I'm very happy with the results.
Yeah, I think you succeeded. So Carlos, thank you so much for coming to us.
Thank you,
show
Marco.
This beautiful watch.
A pleasure.
If you guys have any questions, just hit them up directly. I'm going to also put all the links in the video description below so you can find them easier. And again, if you have suggestions for watch brands or watchmakers you want to see on the channel, let me know as well. Thank you, brother, again.
Thank you, my man.
All the best to the new venture.
Thank you.
And guys, as always, I'll see you next week.